Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Quantum Spirituality, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest is Renee Garcia. Oh, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, we're going to be talking about metaphysical world of reality. She is a lifelong entrepreneur, a certified reality transurfing instructor, an alternative space adventurer. I want to know what that is. And she's endorsed by Vadim Zeeland, an author and creator of Reality Transurfing. At the present moment, she is traveling literally around the world, doing her presentation and bringing people more to the aware of this. She's ventured deeply into the metaphysical world of reality creation, has transformed personal failure into success, poverty into an abundance, sickness into healing, and a bleak worldwide view to one of beaming with joy and magic. Renee is employed with the Reality Transurfing to discover fulfillment, true purpose in life, and connect with the highest version of herself. With a self-built practical mythology and magical wand in hand, she's now empowering others around the world to do the same. Her motto is, knowledge without application is merely entertainment. Amen, sister. I quite agree with you. Welcome to the show, Renee.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and I look forward to our conversation. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And, of course, you're traveling right now, and it looks like you kind of, with your space background, that you're doing a Scotty thing and being beamed up.
Yes, exactly. I'm actually not traveling right now. I'm in between trips, but I'm traveling a lot. So
yes, yes.
I am sort of flying out in the space of our world.
Right, right. And that's kind of really what it's about, really, isn't it? Is I don't know about you, but I am feeling right now, I know that I've said for a long time that the universe is going to be turning up our volume of energy, and it's opening us up more and, transcending us to higher dimensions, higher frequencies. And it's been doing it slowly as according to what humans can take. And now the dial is going up, and I believe May is going to be a bigger impact month. But I don't know about you right now, but are you feeling energy, some abundant of energy in March here right now?
I am, but I'm sort of always in this mode now.
Yeah, I
I
hear
mean,
you.
yeah, I mean, the first few years that I found reality transurfing, I was still getting my sea legs, so to speak,
Mhm.
and then the last few years, I feel like my energy is just exponentially increasing
Yeah.
like every day, and I don't know if it's me exactly or if I'm becoming more if I'm developing an ability
Mhm.
to really maximize the energy that is circulating outside of me
Mhm.
externally, or what is going on exactly, I really don't know, but I definitely feel like at least this year so far
Mhm.
has been just tremendous explosive growth in what I'm doing and for me personally. So yeah, it definitely feels good. The time feels
Yes.
good. How it's, why it's, what's going on, or why or how or whatever, I don't, I'm just happy to be here and happy to have energy and the means to actually use the energy towards something positive.
You're allowing.
I'm allowing, exactly.
Yeah. And
100%.
I think that's where we're at right now. Last year was a gift of reflection. It was a gift of reviewing one's life. Am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right direction? Am I honoring myself and my gifts? What are my gifts? How can I use them? It was a lot of that introspective. And, this year, I always have a word for a year. And my word this year is actionism. We don't want to talk about it anymore. We want to step into that action and make it happen. Whether it's just the one step in front of the other of self-discovery, or, or whether it is Now you can take those leaps and bounds as something that you've watered and seed and is into growth. Oh, I'm sorry, I have no idea who that is. I'm going to pause a moment. Sorry about that, folks. Maybe it was ET calling me. I'm not sure. But I think we're in a beautiful form of energy right now that is really igniting us and allowing us to just go forward. You know, if it's just an exploration, you don't have to know what you want or what you want to do. It's just be willing to explore and allow, you know, the universe to lead you forward, because I think the energy at the present moment is very fortifying.
Yeah, it's a great way of putting it. Yeah, I definitely know what you're saying about last year being a moment to sort of pause and, you know, my perspective on things is a lot different than most people's. I know a lot of people had a lot of challenges last year, but last year was probably one of my biggest years of growth ever
Mm-hmm,
for
mm-hmm.
myself. And I think it really was because the external environment, it seemed like the
Yes,
volume just kind of got turned down and I could really focus.
and tap in.
Yeah, and I got a lot done. I made some huge steps in my movement and with myself, and this is just sort of this is after the new year. I just continue to evolve, and it's been pretty amazing. But I really like what you touched on with the action
Mm.
and being able to sort of seize the energy that
Yes.
is circulating around and how the times are shifting. And for those that are able to harness that and, move that energy, funnel that energy into an endeavor that is going to improve your reality, that's awesome.
Yes. The improving of your own reality is, you know, we've passed, I think, or passing that poster thing of like doing anything for yourself is selfish. Now we're saying be selfish. You know, be selfish, discover your beautiful gift and abundance, and, you know, and ignite your own energy, nurture your own self. Because when you do that, you understand what your gift is and how to use it in the betterment of mankind. So I think right now that it is that permission to people, especially who need it, of it's okay to invest in yourself.
Yes. Oh, yes. And some people have actually been a little bit critical of the transurfing modality because
Mhm.
of this exact reason. We are really, really big advocates for the only thing that truly matters is you.
Yeah,
And I know that a lot of people are like, God, how can you say that? But
your
here's
ego. Yes.
yes, but here's the thing. When, like, for me, this is a really good example. And I use myself as an example a lot. And I think that's why people are listening to me now, is because I have lived a pretty rich life with experiences, different experiences. And my reality, pre reality transurfing, looked very, very different than how my reality looks now.
Mhm,
I was a very different person. I operated from a very different
mhm.
place. And this place that I operated from pre transurfing was this place of kind of feeling guilt if I thought about myself,
Yeah.
but ironically, at the same time, I wasn't actually being effective in helping anyone else.
Hmm, hmm.
And inside, I was actually very unhappy, and I was looking to do things for other people that I thought would facilitate something that would make me happy.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it wasn't actual giving that I was
Mhm.
doing. It was selfishness in an unhealthy way
Yeah.
that was sort of kind of misguided and lying to myself, and also not being totally truthful with others, like having ulterior motives or
Right. Hmm.
only giving if you felt you were going to get something in return and all that sort of business. So I think a lot of people are actually in this space,
Hmm.
and what they say is, well, I can't be selfish, because then if they actually look at selfishness and the idea of it, that programming that
Mm.
has been put in people's direction for, in my case, generations of,
Yes, yes.
don't you be selfish now, you think of others first, and
Right.
all
The
that stuff. And
sacrifice.
yes, yes, and when you're in that space where you're kind of confused about who you are and how to actually be effective with people, and do things for others that's going to actually help, the idea of being selfish is like the scary thing, right? Whereas now in my transurfing reality now, I am in a position where I help me. I
Mm-hmm.
help me connect with what I need to connect with to feel whole.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I also connect with something that is so purposeful and meaningful and powerful for others that I actually have the ability to help other people now.
Right.
But it's actually because I'm helping myself. It's not
Yeah.
because, yeah, it's you
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's where it's at for me,
Yes.
right? That's where it's at, because now I don't do that weird thing where I'm like, oh, I can't be selfish, I can't think of myself, but really I am just thinking of myself and trying to get my own basic selfish needs met, and everything's kind of wonky in my life and nobody's really happy or feeling as though I'm contributing anything
Right.
positive. I just sound so tired, but that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
And now I'm experiencing a very, very different reality. And that starts with an extreme amount of self care and self love,
Yes.
taking care of myself first, tapping into what is good for me.
Yeah.
Like it's the whole analogy about, putting your mask on an
Yeah.
airplane before
Mhm.
you start trying to put the mask on somebody else, right?
Right. Yep. 100%. What a lot of it is for so long we've lived by head expectation, society's dictation. You have to be, you're only important if that.
Yep.
This is the way you've got to look. This is what you have to do. And it's always the have to, should do's, you must do. And what we're doing is bucking away from that and saying, and I watched Harry and Meghan the other day, and they're placing value on their own selves, on their own well-beingness. They haven't stopped representing and caring for other people. They've just chosen to do it from a place that isn't dictatorial, that isn't controlling. And when you walk away from that expectation, you're walking away from an illusion. Because
Yes.
how do we live up to that illusion? We
Yeah.
cannot, because this person, this wants this from you, this person wants that from you, and you're being split in two, and you lose yourself. The more abundant and whole you are with yourself, soul, heart, spirit, mind, body, the more you are in sync with all of your beautiful divine intellects, the more abundant you are, the more your cup runneth over. So
Yeah.
it is essential that you
Yeah.
invest and nurture and love yourself, because now you've got more to give.
Totally. Totally. That's a beautiful way to put it. One of the concepts in reality transurfing that, is one of our pillar concepts, is this idea that reality is just a mirror reflecting back to us our
Yes.
attitudes and beliefs and behaviors and
Mm.
thoughts towards it, right? That's all reality is just mirroring back to us a image that we're projecting to it. And when you are in a place of giving to yourself
Mm.
and really like your cup is full, right? Your
Yes.
cup floweth over. This is when that energy reaches
Mhm.
reality and shows that you're a full and giving person. But it's internal first. That
Right.
whole system
Everything in
has to
life
be
is an inside out job.
totally
Yeah.
100%, 100%. And that's sort of where I struggled in my past, is getting to that place of understanding
Mhm.
that reality wasn't doing anything to me. It
Mhm.
wasn't like there was an imbalance of, it was unfair and it was off
Mhm.
balance. It
Mhm.
was that my levels of what I needed to fill me up internally needed to be achieved first. And then once you're full with the things you need, then you start giving off this image that is, that of a full and healthy person. And you attract the situations exactly intended for you,
Exactly.
where you don't have to try or change anything about yourself to be effective in influencing or helping, or you know building with a community or
Yeah,
your family or whatever. It's just an extension of who you are, right?
exactly. It's your
Yeah.
abundance. It's your abundance that you're sharing. It's you know that that transcendence or that transference or the trans travel, whatever, of we have to be willing to take the journey, go through the process in our self-discovery of who we really are from the inside out, and embrace the gift that we are, and how are we to use it that is in the betterment of mankind or planet, world in general. That's what we're here to do. And in life, it is about that self-discovery of who we are and what we're here to do and whom it serves. That's the process of life. And if you're not willing to go through that process, you're never going to be in discovery. You're always going to be living up to that illusional expectation. and
Yeah.
and so many people are empty out there. It doesn't matter how rich or how popular or how this or how many followers, they're just an empty shell living a
Yeah.
robotic life. When you go in and you really see the reality from within and understand that beautiful divine presence and that knowingness, that truth, that essence of the universal love, now you truly understand your connection and really who you are, and you can bring that gift out to the world. But we've got to be willing to go through the journey and go through the process, right? It's not a quick Amazon delivery or downloadable app. It's a process. And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, they just don't know where to start. So
Mhm.
did you start with this process, or what was your starting point in realizing that I have to make this journey and this is the way I'm going to do it?
Well, this was a pretty profound period in my life. I would say probably the most profound
Mm,
moment in my life. Um, I didn't see it coming,
never do.
but uh,
Cosmic 2x4.
yes, exactly. Cosmic two by four is an excellent way of putting it. I, I grew up in the unfortunate circumstances, very poverty level, a lot of programming from past generations that was very destructive. And I had very serious low self esteem. My parents were minimum wage workers. It was just not a good environment to,
Low vibration.
what'd you say?
Low vibration.
Very low vibration. I grew up in a trailer park. I mean, it was not a good environment. So late teenage years, I started to somehow connect with this idea that um, I could have more. I just didn't know how to do it. I wasn't educated. I didn't have resources, and I somehow managed to get up off my feet and start a business for myself in Los Angeles, and gain some success, quite a bit of success actually. I was really towards the end of my period in Los Angeles, which was about 15 years. I was living the dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fancy car, fancy condo, money in the bank, all the stuff. But I was this shell that you were talking
Yes.
about, right?
Yes.
I was very, very empty and miserable. Had anxiety, depression, you name it. I was
Mm-hmm.
not well psychologically, and I could not understand why,
Right.
right? Because here I was gaining
Mm-hmm.
all the things that my environment told me is what
Wasn't
makes me happy.
Yes. Well, what are you talking about? You're rich. You got this. You got that. You got that. Why?
Yeah,
Why are you unhappy? What are you bitching about? There's no
yeah,
connection to you.
yeah. Like, yeah. What's wrong with you? Are you
Yeah.
are you ever going to be happy? Like, look at
Yeah.
this life you have. Are you
Yeah.
ever going to? And I knew inherently that I was living the wrong reality. I had lived from the mind, like you said,
Yes.
right? Where it was all just ideas programmed into me by my environment, but I did not know how to get out.
Right.
So I left Los Angeles. I gave it all up. I left.
Bravo.
I started to, I went into the countryside and sort of thought I'm going to take a year or two to just kind of figure out who I am or what I'm going to do. And at the time, it was pretty easy for me. My business could be on automatic. I had a very nice little place to live. My overhead was low. Virtually, I had no cares, right? Financially, I was okay, stable, and no kids, no
Mhm.
husband. Very in a position where I could just coast if I wanted to.
Right.
And one morning, I woke up, got in the shower, something seemed very heavy on me. I got out of the shower, I was toweling off, and I wiped the mirror off with the towel. And I look at myself in the mirror and I think to myself, what are you going to leave here, Renee? And what is your purpose here? Because
Mhm.
just coasting
Mhm.
and feeling as though you're safe in your little cocoon that you've, escaped to, this isn't this isn't a life,
No.
right? This isn't a life. What are you going to do to make an impact in this world? Or what purpose are you going to fulfill? And shortly after that, I found reality transurfing, which was virtually unheard of in the US
Hmm.
and in the world outside of Russia. It was very, very new knowledge. And I applied the concepts. I started to live by this new model for which to view reality. It changed absolutely everything about my understanding of how reality functions and my relationship to reality and why I had ended up in the place that I did and everything, all
Mm.
the questions that I had been.
Unraveled.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like an instant, like, you
Mm.
want answers? Here's your answers,
Right.
right? So after I read the book, and applied the stuff and started seeing results in my life, I just kind of, one morning, it just clicked, and I thought, oh my God, I'm the one that's intended to bring this knowledge to the world. Like,
Mhm.
this is me. There's nobody else doing it. And I'm experiencing this. And these were all the solutions and answers to the questions that I had. I know there's other people out there that are challenged and
Mhm.
struggling by the exact same things. I'm going to bring it. And
Right.
this has been the last 6 years of my life, literally every single day for the last 6 years
Right.
of my
You,
life. And I love it.
you're living your truth. You're living your purpose. I mean, I talk a great deal about meaningful purpose. Yet it's like we're all given a beautiful instrument. It's discover what that instrument is, learn how to play it, and find the orchestra in which to belong, and then play that music that resonates out to everyone else in invitation and inspiration. It's when you discover that instrument and this is it.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I need to do. Now, I don't need to know how to do it. I don't need to know where to do it. I just need to know I need to do it. Universe guide me and the doors start opening up, right?
Totally.
It's because you've tapped into the universe. When you think is when you tap into the channels of the universe, you're tuned into that station. Now we have digital and you just press and it goes automatically. When you used to have the knob and you had to tune in, you could get those little things just beforehand. And it's like, we don't want to go to the same old channel.
Yeah.
We want to get that in between channel because that's where the universe is speaking to us. We are meant to have our knowingness. And I will say that the soul is the wisdom of the universal energy. It speaks through the heart in resonance. It goes to the spirit into action, and the mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. If
Yeah.
we're constantly thinking, we're not feeling. If we feel our thoughts, we understand what those thoughts are and how to put them into action.
Yes. You're a reality transurfer. That's what we call ourselves. And this is exactly what our modality is about. It's about and we use the analogy of tuning the channel
Yeah.
exactly the same as you described it, so I was a little blown away to hear you describe it like that. But that's what this modality is about. It's about tuning to a different channel,
Yeah.
right? This is parallel reality shifting or quantum jumping, however you want to describe it. But it's also about tuning the dial down of the
Mm.
mind and
Yes, yes,
tuning
yes.
up the
Yeah.
heart, right? And
Yes.
when you can get this one going at a higher volume
Mm-hmm.
than the mind, what Vadim Zeland says in the book, and this is a really, really good way to describe it, we have this thing internally called the soul frail.
Mm-hmm.
And the soul frail is like a little specific code that's specifically yours to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
that makes up all the little intricate parts of who you are. What How you would find purpose, what purpose is for you, right? What makes you feel alive, what
Yeah.
makes you feel like you're on fire and
Yes.
you're passionate, all those little things. So when you tune to this part of you, when you have adequately tuned to your soul frail, the frequency of this
Mm-hmm.
matches up with one of those channels in
Yes.
reality, and it corresponds to this version of reality, which is the highest version of reality that you can
Mm-hmm.
experience. So the
Right.
more you can get into activating that soul frail and tuning in, dialing into who you really are as a person, you start merging with a version of reality that is specifically for you, where all the things that you want or matter to you exist. And
Yes.
this is reality transurfing.
Right. That's perfect. I used to have a show I co-did with someone else, and it was called Channeling Ascensions. And it was, how to ascend to the higher vibration, how to ascend to another level. And she was a channeler for her own life of being in the streets and everything else, losing her mind. Eventually, it came to the channel that wanted to speak through her, and this is what she does now. And we've got to understand this is a beautiful vessel that we've been given in this body to live here on earth. But do not just treat the body. The heart and the soul and the spirit are the things that are the generators of our
Yeah.
beingness. And when you're in tune with the universe, which channels down to us, that's where, knowing what you need to know when you need to know it, that knowingness is always with you. This is why you are never alone. And if you allow that knowledge to come through you and don't dictate it, or demand it, but allow it to come through you, you will always know your truth and what to say, what to do when you need to do it. And that is that beautiful channeling of the universe, of living in that beautiful divine presence.
Yeah, it just comes naturally, right?
Yes.
Ease,
Yes.
ease. Nothing is being forced. Nothing is, and this is the difference between the version of reality now that I'm currently experiencing and this old life that I used to live.
Yes.
Old life that I used to live, everything was forced all the
Yeah.
time. It was all forced from my mind. I was
Mm-hmm.
constantly overthinking and worrying and doubting myself and trying too hard and working from will and working from ego. And, if things didn't match up with my expectations, I was devastated. And
Yes.
all these different imbalances that essentially originated in the mind,
Right.
right? And switching over from working from a different place, it's been so meaningful to me because now I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to think about anything.
Right.
It's like, I
Yes.
mean, I'm thinking probably more so than normal people, like
Yeah.
people living exactly like this. My mind is
Mm.
like, if I showed you my to-do list, there's a million things on there, but I'm simply answering the calls that are coming to me, right?
Right.
I don't have to think of what I need to do anymore. I'm not
The
thinking of
knowingness.
do. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm just co-creating with my reality. My
Right.
reality is giving me something here. This is what you need to do next. This is the person you need to network with. This is where you need to go. This is what you need to show up for. This is what you need to create. And I'm just in the action of answering that, answering that, answering that. And there's a huge relief there.
But also there's a huge energy. What you were
Yeah.
describing before is exhausting.
Oh, totally.
Exhausting. It's so draining, and it kills creativity. It creates passion or compassion or a heart connection, because it's this expectation just sucks the life out of you. Now
Oh,
you get up in the morning with that meaningful purpose, knowing you're not alone, opening up to what the universe wants you to do, but with the skills that you've learned and how to navigate that. Now
yeah,
you can truly be out there and be abundant, and the energy is always with you
totally.
instead of against you.
Totally. Yes, exactly. This is what we call actually the alternatives flow in the
Mhm.
modality, is when the energy is with you and it's just kind of taking you,
Mhm.
right? Taking
Yeah.
you where you need to go. You're just sort of along for the ride. It's taking you where you need to go. And this is energetically efficient, right? And
Yeah.
effective, because
Yeah.
you're not trying to make something happen and swim
Right.
upstream. You're going with
With
that
the flow.
flow.
Mm.
And what you encounter on that flow, you begin to understand that this is, again, getting back to that, like, your soul frail corresponds to that sector of reality intended for you. It's the
Yes.
same with the flow. The flow is taking you exactly where you need to go. It's taking you to that sector of reality that corresponds directly, or specifically to you,
With your meaningful purpose.
with your meaningful purpose.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is show up. That's all you need to do is
Go
show
with
up.
it.
Yep,
Go
go with it.
allow, go with it.
Yeah,
It will know which actionism you need to take. It will, I have to feel my thoughts. I've got plenty of thoughts going on in my head all the time. But if I want to make sense of them, I have to feel them. When I feel them, then I know they're the right thoughts, and I
yes,
can take action on them. And
yeah,
so, it's just savor your moment, savor the dialogue that's going on, let it filter down. And then, what is not needed is just going to go off there. And then what really the wording that you need to know that's going to ignite you moving forward will come. And it's like, well, how do you know? How do you, people say with the knowingness, and you know what you need to know when you need to know it. How do you know? And I said, you just know. It
feel it.
just is. Get to the point where life just is, and you just know, and you don't need an explanation.
Yes, and you just feel it. You just
Yes.
know, right?
Yes.
You just
Don't
know.
challenge it. Explain it to me how you know.
Yeah,
I've been doing this since a child, where I would suddenly start counseling my teachers. And they go, how do you know that? You're 9. I don't
yeah,
know. I had no idea what I was saying to them, but I was saying to them what they needed to know in that moment. I was purely the channeler.
yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't for me to know. It was for me to give them the message that they needed to know.
Yes, that's awesome. That's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. And I know exactly what you're speaking of. Yes, it's being able to resonate with what is, and turn down the volume on
Mm-mm.
everything that is just noise
Yeah.
for yourself,
Yeah.
and also, if you're in a position to do so, for others, like you're saying, telling teachers things that you felt they needed to know, or you just knew they needed to know when you were 9. I'm in a very similar position now, where people come to me with all kinds of questions about
Mhm.
their lives and these big, huge, long stories. I'll get texts on Facebook and emails where people spell it out for me, this big, huge, long thing, and I'll skim it because I
Yes.
don't need to read it. I
No,
can I can already feel.
the vibration's already speaking to you.
Totally. And
Yes.
I can get to the end of it and they're like, what do you think I should do?
Mhm.
And oftentimes, I would say 95% of the time, I could see in there they already know what
Yeah.
to do, that they're just not certain because they don't trust that knowing
Right.
They
Right.
want somebody else to confirm it. And
Yes.
I will say to people so many times, go back and read the message yourself that you sent me, and
Yeah.
your answer is in there.
Yes. Exactly.
No, I
Exactly.
don't have to answer anything.
No.
It's already in there. People answer their own questions for them all for themselves all the time, and this is where it's at. I'm a huge advocate for a lot of, the podcasts are one thing. It's a nice way to get some information, for to see how other people, to hear a dynamic
Yes.
conversation, how other
Best
people
teachers
are.
are those that have gone through it, right?
Yes.
So yeah, they're the ones to invite you in. The inspiration begets invitation. They're
Yes.
inviting you to take that actionism.
Exactly, exactly. And the rest of it,
Mm.
like all the other things, all the other modalities, even transurfing itself, and I speak about this all the time. Transurfing, what transurfing is really about is putting you in contact with your ability, do it on your own. I really believe that we need less in this world, not more. Reality transurfing is a modality about stripping off, not adding anything on. It's about simplifying your experience of reality and tuning in to yourself to get exactly what you need to start living a life that is better for you, whatever that may mean.
Yes.
Your new path, dialing into your soul frail, tuning out of the voice of your mind and tuning into your heart, whatever the formula is. But you getting to a place where you do not feel compelled to write a stranger at
Mm.
2 o'clock in the morning asking them what you should do with your life, right? Just getting to a place where you know when it's time to move, it's time to move. When it's time to take action, it's time to take action. And answering that call, doing that thing, right?
Well, as you said, the answers are with us because, as I said, we're never alone. We can always channel them if we get out of our own way. I'm a blogger and I do my own show as well. And sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I put my fingers to the keyboard and blah, it comes out. Sometimes I have to write it and then I would do the podcast of it. And it's like, it's what needs to be will be. It's not for me to take. I read it afterwards and sometimes I'm surprised, because I've learned something by something I've just written.
Yes.
I wrote it so in the now and I read it back and go, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. And,
Yeah.
if we allow ourselves to go down that journey of discovery, and not have to be that everything has to be right and I've got to do it this way and I've got to do it that way. Just do it,
Oh,
then
yeah.
review it. You will
Yes.
actually understand what it's saying to you.
Totally, totally. I do that. I do that with my videos. I have been terrified of being on camera my whole life. Very, very shy,
Me too.
introverted. You too?
I mean, when I started these podcasts, I thought, who wants a 60 something year old, as a visual for a podcast? And then I heard my other voice saying, shut up, Sarah. It's not about the way you look. It's about the content.
Yes.
Right?
That's
Right?
yes. And
Yeah.
when you can drop that,
Yes.
when you can drop that and just show others, like, here I am, this is the way that I am, me, and what used to be, and a real awkwardness and shyness, and I would stutter and stumble over my words, and all kinds of, and I just kept going no matter what
Right.
happened. I just kept going and I just kept going. And finally, about 6 months into it, this has been about a year and a half now. Now I have 650 videos on YouTube of me
Mm.
talking. After about 6 months, I got over all those
Yeah.
things,
Yes.
focusing on idiosyncrasies and
Yes.
challenging myself, doubting myself, all that stuff. And something happened where I switched over into this mode, and I didn't even know it happened at the time, but this weird thing started to happen where I would film a few videos and then afterwards I couldn't remember what I had said on the videos. I couldn't remember anything
Yes.
about the videos. It was
Right.
it was like I blacked out.
Yeah.
So then I would go into Dropbox to start editing the videos and organizing them and getting them to the editor. And I'd watch some of them and I couldn't believe my eyes. I was
Yeah.
like, how in the world am I doing that? I had no, but I was saying brilliant things that I couldn't even think of how to
Because
say.
it's not about your thought.
Yeah,
It's not about the thought. It's that universal, beautiful, divine intellect articulating it through you.
yeah,
It's
it's
not
amazing.
you predisposing what you think about it, right?
Yes, yes. It's letting the heart speak
Yes,
rather than letting the mind.
yes.
Yeah. And if I had left it up to my mind, it would have been just another thing that I would have tried and then got, frustrated with and threw out, right?
Exactly, exactly. Oh, it's not perfect. The thing is, we're flawsome. Everybody's flawsome, right? The
Oh
other
my
thing,
God, can I take that? Can I
yes,
make
please do. I stole it from someone myself, but I always say that we are imperfectly perfect because it's our imperfections that make us unique. We've
Yeah,
all got a quirk of some kind. And
yeah,
that's what makes us unique. Why don't you do shows like such and such and such and such? It's because I'm not them, I'm me.
yeah,
I'm going to speak Sarah. You can
yeah,
take it or leave it. You can
yeah,
hear it or not hear it. But it's not for me to change who I am because this is the gift I was given to share with you. Right.
totally.
And it doesn't matter how you look or this or that. It is about very often people don't even hear the words the first time. They
Yeah.
feel the tone. They get into the rhythm and the vibration, and the words will later on trickle down into their psyche.
Yes, so true.
Mm.
It is a great way of putting it. It is a great way of putting it. But the person delivering the words, in
Yes.
order to get in that deep, it can't be from the mind.
No.
Mind is not capable of penetrating the human psyche to that extent. It has to be
Yes.
something that's resonating at a much different frequency. And I think that's why I've
Mm.
sort of cut through the line and have managed to gain, the first 4 years of doing this. I wasn't very active at all. I wasn't doing a lot. I mean, I was doing things daily, but they weren't very public things.
Mm.
The last 2 years I've gone very public, like with the YouTube channel and all that stuff. And suddenly I'm just kind of in front of the line, and
Right. Yes. I
I
like
think
that.
when you get to a certain point where you're showing people that you're coming from a place of pure heart, right? And you're
From
really just
transcendence.
yeah, you're just throwing yourself out there. People are like, okay, get her to the front of the line.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, right now, this show, whoever listens to it is going to get what they're going to get from it, right? But the fact that we're doing the show in this energy field right now, this energy is already being picked up by people. They
Yes.
don't know they're getting this energy. They don't even know that they're getting this knowledge. And it's
Yeah.
going to show up in a way that they need if they allow it to.
Yeah. Yes. Great way of putting it. Great way of putting it. And it's about just kind of, this is one thing that has helped me so much with this modality is understanding the value of, we call it cleaning your layer of
Mhm.
reality,
Yeah.
right? Really making space so these higher frequency things can come in, and
Yes.
and acknowledging when you are participating. Like for me now, I cannot watch violence on TV
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a film buff for, I'm a Criterion member. I love the Criterion collection. I love movies. I used to say Pulp Fiction was my favorite movie of all time, and yeah, and now I could not for the life of
Yeah.
me a
You'd
movie.
feel it. You'd feel the pain of it.
Yes, it's like,
Yes.
and this removal of that rubbish, in my
Mm.
mind, it's rubbish. It's like I move that out, and then all of a sudden there's space there for
Yeah.
something higher and something a little bit better. And then this, the influx of that brings in other opportunities for
Yeah.
more higher and better information. And it's like I've sort of just upgraded my experience of
Mm-hmm.
life simply by cleaning my layer of reality and making certain that I'm feeling good about what I'm consuming,
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Yes.
media
Yeah.
included, media
Yeah.
included. And
Yeah. I
so,
mean, I've always been a spiritual being. I was a very sickly child, and so left alone a lot. So I kind of played with dead people. Why can't you see them? I would dimensional travel. I've lived in other different dimensions, and sometimes I have to shake my head. Well, which one was this earthly reality? But I found it very hard to literally walk on the earth because I could feel all the pain and the anger and everything else. And for a long time, it was a struggle for me to be an earthling.
interesting.
I was safe in my spiritual, but living the earthling, and that my journey was for me to come together and be the divine earthling being that I am. And I know, there's certain areas, certain places, I as an empath, I have to put my boundaries around to protect myself from that. But
Yeah.
the higher the elevation of your frequency that you go, the more you embrace that divine energy, the more it removes any of that negative static.
Yes, it's so true.
Mhm.
Like a force field
Yes.
around you
Yes.
just protects you,
Yeah.
and you get notified if
Yeah.
something's fringing on that force field. When I was in Egypt a couple of weeks ago, I was with a man. I don't know if you know who he is. His name's Dr. Salah Al Rashad. Do you know who he is?
I've heard of him.
So he's a very influential person in the Middle Eastern region. He's Kuwaiti himself, and he's a thought leader. He's an amazing human being. I'm honored to even be able to call him my friend. I went to his new holistic center, and he allowed me this opportunity to put my hand on this device
Mm-hmm.
that shows you the health and alignment of your chakras.
Mm-hmm.
Also shows that
Aura.
shows aura,
Mm-hmm.
and how strong the aura is,
Yes.
what color the aura is, if there's breaks in the aura.
Mm.
And I was actually really amazed that my aura was totally consistent, no breaks. It was very thick.
Mm.
And I would have really given just about anything to see the aura and the chakra alignment compared to the old version.
Right. Yeah. Did you know that the clothes, the colors that you wear, even the foods that you eat, are feeding the alignment of your chakras? So if you're
Wow.
craving kind of the aubergines or the green peppers or the this or that, they are literally feeding the energetics of the and if you're down, don't wear dark. Wear something. It doesn't have to be bright, like big bright red, pink, or anything else. It can still be in deeper tones, but make sure that you do wear color because that will help your energy to rise up. So,
That's a
it's also the same with tones and music. You know, I listen to a great deal of music. Sometimes it's not the words, it's simply the music because it realigns me. And what we have to understand about music per se is the fact that it is frequency, it's vibration. And
yes.
it goes in then, and if your vibration is a little off kilter, it'll help reset you. So there are so many exterior things that if you're feeling out of alignment that you can do, and they're simple. The way you dress, right? The foods that you eat, some music that you listen to, even the getting up and dancing and freeing your body.
Yes.
It's like you don't have to be at that higher level to realign yourself. There's a lots of little other techniques along the way. And of course,
Oh,
breathing,
totally.
breath is huge, right?
There's so many, and in the end, just being mindful, and again, getting back to that like soul frail of who you are, just thinking about just thinking about feeling when you encounter something that you know is going to elevate that frequency just a little bit. Like for me, roses around the house. I
Hmm.
just, for some reason, for me, that does it. I see roses and I just feel a little
Yes.
higher, you know,
Yeah.
I just feel a little higher.
Their
I
frequency,
love,
they're speaking to you.
yeah, they're
Yes.
speaking to me, the color, everything.
Yes.
Essential oil, room
Hmm.
spray,
Yes, yes, yes.
honey
I've got
trees.
one called Envision right here, right now.
Little things that you can
Yeah.
make. I got a little bottle of perfume that somebody gave me in Egypt that's essential oils, and it's
Mm.
just little things like
Yes.
that.
You know,
little,
the stones around you, the color around you is like, if you feel warmth and comfort from it, it's there to feed you.
totally,
Right.
totally.
So, it's, not, I need color around me. If you saw what was around me over there, it's abundance of color, because color for me, like music and everything else, it's vibrancy. I love the energy that each one of them comes off with. We need to understand that absolutely every single thing is a particle that comes from the universe that makes us all up. We are just different particles from the universe, as are the objects
Yeah,
that we're there. And there is always a energetic signature with it. And
yes,
right now we're talking on a computer through the algorithm and the energy of of the wavelengths that are going out there. It is not any less of a connection as it would be if we were in the same room.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's awesome. Beautiful. Yeah.
I am intrigued as to know what alternative space adventure is.
So the alternative space and the transurfing modality is really the foundation of reality. It's the matrix or the quantum field. It's everything that is outside of us, including us. It's where you talk about downloading
Mhm.
information, or all that stuff about there's a corresponding version of reality that's specific for to you and your heart and your soul. All of that stuff is what makes up the
Yeah,
ultimate space. It's the quantum field, really.
right. Yeah.
And with reality transurfing, we through these concepts and the understanding of this knowledge, we understand that our movement in the alternative space, tuning that dial, like you said,
Mhm.
um, it becomes pretty easy. You can create a new reality for yourself almost instantly if you want to, right? Either just in your mind with refreshing your worldview, or actually making some choices where your reality actually looks different, like you're in a different country or a
Mhm.
different experience of some kind. So I have become, I mean, I was always sort of good at this.
Mhm.
I have had some incredible life experiences where people have said to me, how did you do that?
Mhm.
How did
Mhm.
how did you make that happen? And I could never really put my finger on it. Like, I couldn't explain it to anyone. I couldn't even understand exactly what I was doing. I would just say, well, I'm just doing it, right? I'm just doing it. And now I know very much
Yes.
what it is exactly that I am doing. And this is moving myself into different sectors of the alternative space. And I've gotten pretty good at it. I can do it pretty easily now.
Mm.
And a lot of people are curious about reality transurfing, and they're like, well, what does that mean? Are you accessing different worlds? Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean exactly? But it's more about it's taking, and I like what you said about the quantum spirituality, right? It's about taking this quantum spirituality and applying it to your life in a practical way,
Right.
where you're able to experience a different version of reality that is real and actually obtainable
Yeah.
for you, or relatively obtainable, rather than saying like, well, I want to go to Mars, right?
Yes.
That's kind of a distance.
Yes.
But me going and giving a seminar as an expert in something in Egypt in a couple
Mhm.
weeks, that's actually really possible for me,
Right.
right? Because I've tuned myself to that variation of reality.
You,
So
you got
my
out of yourself. You got
say it
out of
again.
your own way,
Yes,
right? And
yes,
you just tapped in, and people kind of, until they tap in and don't quite know what we're talking about. It's like You know, you watch a child giggling with laughter. You watch a puppy dog chasing its tail. You listen to that piece of music that's really speaking to you. You know, some news that really, you catch that breath, and
Yeah.
it elevates you. We're living in a state of elevation, not always the catching of breath. It is, you know, your background right now is of space.
Yes.
You know, my piece is traveling up into space where I am everything and nothing all at once, right? I feel no burden of the body. I am just in that beautiful open space. I will receive what I need to know when I need to know it. And I am just there floating in space. And it's such an exquisite feeling. To a lot of people, it's like, is she off her rocker? Right? But until you are willing to experience some of these things, you don't know what we're talking about. But what we're
Yeah.
telling you is when you choose to experience it,
Yes.
now you get it and you truly understand what life is about. I've interviewed a few scientists, and you know, one of the conversations that came up was quantum physics has allowed us to measure energy.
Yes.
Now they actually understand those that choose to live on a spiritual realm, a divine realm, a high energetic realm, is energy they can measure. They now know love is a frequency that is of a certain hertz.
Yeah.
It's a certain energy. And that when you're in that higher energy, you're in heightened senses of open consciousness. And you cannot entertain hate
Yeah. Yeah.
because that love is too transcending, it's too higher elevation. And the
Yeah.
more we're willing to rise, the more we are going to experience that love.
Yeah. Great. That's a great way of putting it. And when you rise, like you're talking about, to some of those higher frequencies, you can really cover some ground,
Mm-hmm.
real on earth, right?
Yes.
I mean, when you were talking about going up into space and just being no body, right?
Yes.
You're just there. You can kind of do that on earth too.
Yes. Some people prefer the grounding and feeling of the earth. You know, I'm just a cosmic being, but you know, yes, you can. You can attach yourself to the earth's vibration and frequency and feel everything there. It's just a question of which way you're wired.
Yeah, and move yourself around to different variations of reality
Yes.
that are actually much more accessible than people give them credit for,
Right.
right? Or give credit to. So like for me, I'll be going in a 6 week period of time. I'll be going to Egypt twice from the US. And a friend of mine said to me, "Oh my God, I've always wanted to go to Egypt. It's my life dream."
Mm-hmm.
She's 84 years old. And I'm
Right.
like, "Girlfriend, okay, you got to go to Egypt then. Your time
Just make it happen.
as your earth body, exactly,
Yes.
you need to go, right?"
Yes.
So this is the difference between being connected with information and knowledge, that you don't have to wait until you're
No,
84 to go to Egypt. You could go
please
to
don't.
Egypt in 6 weeks if you want to.
Yes. Make it happen. That's the thing is that I always say, you know, feed the water, you know, or the seeds that you plant must be of heart and honest intent.
Yes,
Make sure that you water and nurture them. What you feed will grow,
totally.
right? And if you get out of the way of how it's going to grow, how it's going to happen, whom
Yes,
it's going to happen with. You know,
yeah,
I've had a vision of an idea 3.5 years ago. And, you know, when it came to me, it felt right. And it still is right. But whom I had to do it with, when I had to do it, and how I had to do it, I had to be patient and let happen,
totally.
which is happening right now because now the time and the energy is right.
Yes,
Well, there's nothing wrong with the vision. Just
yeah,
because it didn't manifest straight away didn't mean it was wrong. It was just giving me a precursor of where to go.
yes,
Right?
exactly. Well, this is really one of the fundamentals of reality transurfing. This is exactly why, in my opinion, things like the law of attraction in the modern sense of how it's used
Yes.
does not work for people.
Exactly.
Because
I agree.
a person says, okay, well, I want to manifest a Lamborghini, right?
Hmm.
And then they're like, manifest Lamborghini, manifest oh, I like your background.
Yeah, I'm
Manifest
sorry. It's my daughter's baby shower, and it
Lamborghini.
pops into every show for a moment, but there's a happy rainbow.
That's really cute. That's really cute. So the person tries to manifest their Lamborghini, and then they go, wait a second, this isn't working. It's not working. I might as well give it up,
Yeah,
right? And then they give up on the idea of the
everything.
because
Yeah,
it didn't work. And you have access to that Lamborghini if you want it, right? I tell my followers all the time as a joke, if I wanted a Lamborghini in my driveway by tomorrow morning, it would be there.
right,
No doubts. But it's not about just willing it to be
right.
there. You create along with your world the path in which that Lamborghini drives right up into your driveway, right?
Right,
But it might not be for some people tomorrow. I'm
right.
powerful now, so for me, I know I could have it there tomorrow. But for some people, it might take you 2 years, might take you
Yeah,
10 years. But
yes,
if you want it bad enough,
yeah,
you actually want it, allow the circumstances to unfold for you, that all you have to do is sit back and know when you need to fuel something with action, know when you need
yes.
to make the moves. And sure enough, you will ultimately get that Lamborghini if that's what you really want.
But that's
But
the point. You know, today I want a Lamborghini. I think it will make me happy. But if you're going to go through this journey and you're going to evolve and ascend and transcend, all of a sudden you're going to realize not the Lamborghini I want. There's a
totally,
totally different vehicle I want, and I'm it. Right.
totally,
So, yeah. And so you've still manifested what you thought the feeling of having the Lamborghini would give to you. Right. So, this is why I say when you're painting your canvas of desires, don't paint it from the thoughts, paint
yeah,
it from the feelings, paint it from the heart. Right. Because the soul speaks through the heart. If the heart is closed, it can't reach you.
yeah,
Open up your heart and your passion and your desire, and you put out the, I wish to feel like this. I
yeah,
wish to accomplish this because it makes me feel like this. The universe can address a feeling because it's energy,
yeah.
right? Thoughts are energy as well, but thoughts are, again, is it coming from an illusion?
Yeah. Is it coming from an
Yeah,
ideal that
yeah,
didn't originate with
right.
you, right?
Yes. An
Yeah.
expectation.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Totally. An
Yeah.
image, a mirage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's where a lot of people are living now. And I just did a video a couple weeks ago on my YouTube channel that said the title of it was "It's not about the $1 million."
No.
I get so many people that say, okay, I've been doing this stuff, Renee, but I still don't have the $1 million. I still don't have the $1 million. And I want to say, dude, you're not getting it. It's not
No.
$1 million.
No. Exactly.
It's not
You know,
about the
financially, I'm not rich at all, but I'm an incredibly enriched person and very abundant. Oh, you've got money issues. I said, no. When I need the money for something, it's there in some form or other. But for
yes.
me, it's about that abundance of enrichment, of
Yeah.
empowerment, of love. I am is so incredibly enriched. The money is a tool.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It is something that will help you in your process of life. Do not give the power to the money.
Yeah.
Money itself will never make you happy. It's how you use the money, and the more money you get, the more you need to share, because in seeding those opportunities for others is going to enrich you.
Totally. And this is what I try to tell people that are struggling with their finances. I'm like, listen, if you tap into the right stuff for you, the right stuff for who you are, and you need money for something, it will come, right?
Yes.
It will come. If it's really for you, not your mind.
Right.
And this is why a lot of people that are working from the mind and are struggling with their finances, they're like, why don't I have money? Why don't I
Yeah.
have money? Why don't I have money? You know, the money comes when it's necessary for something good, for facilitating something that's good for you. Now, there's wealthy people that don't
Mm,
have good intentions, right? And
right. Oh, yeah.
but those people aren't necessarily happy.
No,
And
I know that for a fact.
I rolled in a big crowd when I lived in LA, and I can honestly say the wealthier people were, the more messed up and the more
Yeah.
miserable they were, you know?
I've
So,
interviewed a great many of them. Yeah.
yeah, do you
Yeah.
really want the money? Do
No.
you really want that? You know? So it's a fascinating it's a fascinating perspective
Yeah.
for me, and I'm so happy that I was able to see that side of reality before I found what was actually meaningful. And
Yes.
truth for me is understanding that, you know, what ultimately broke me in the end, what led up to, you know, a nervous breakdown where I was like, this is it. I can't go
Yeah.
on like this. I don't want to go on like this anymore. What led to that was this accumulation of wealth and fortunate circumstances, seemingly, and me feeling panicked each time I got a little more money in the bank or I got a better car. You know, I had the 5 Series BMW, and then I want the 6 Series, so I
Yeah.
get the 6 Series, and it doesn't do anything. Well,
Right.
what is going to do something
Right.
then? What is going to do
Exactly.
something then?
Mhm.
You know, so I'm so happy that I had that experience because I know now
Where the
that
real value is.
yes,
Right.
exactly
Yeah.
where the fortune
Really.
actually is, and
Yes.
that in tapping into your purpose, feeling as though when you wake up in the morning, you fly out of bed because you're excited to do what you came here to do.
Exactly. That's the true
Period.
abundance in life. I fortunately work at home. So COVID for me was not something that actually it was busier because we were doing show after show after show of pivoting,
Sure.
dealing with the stress and handling what was going on. What's really the gift here? How do we support the immune
Yeah.
system? So it was all about that. And so it was an extraordinary year because it made people ask questions. What's really important?
Yes.
And look at society. We now understand that our garbage collectors, our janitors, our store workers, our food growers, the hospital workers, all of these people, our teachers, they're the true root value of society, not your rich CEOs. We've put them on a pedestal, we've worshipped them, but where were they? Some of them have stepped up and put money and everything else, and then some of them just capitalized. But
Yeah.
the people who are our heroes are those everyday people that made sure that we survived,
Well, and
right?
people living their purpose,
Yes,
right? People
yes,
living their purpose, not just people that have managed to hack reality via the
right.
mind.
And
You know,
it is, we're very judgmental creatures as human beings. And it was looking down at a janitor, just a janitor. And I've always said this, you walk into a building to go and see that CEO and that big office down at the top there because you think he's all important and you're going to do business with this company. If you walk in there and that entrance and that elevator and that hallway is dirty, doesn't that change your perception of the person you're going to be walking in and doing business with?
right, yes, it
So
takes
who's the most important person there? The janitor, because they've set the stage.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's our presentation of ourselves and our authenticity in who we are. I'm nothing against about I wear makeup, right? I'm not all natural. I love color. I love jewelry. I love this and that. That's fine. It is not to hide me as an extension of me, right? And this thing, you can still be exuberant. You can still love material things, but it's not loving the material things to fulfill you. Use
Yes.
it as an extension of you, of an expression of you from
Yes.
the inside out.
And have fun with it
Yes.
and savor it. Don't
Yeah.
eat it.
Right. Yeah.
Be happy that you have the opportunity to have it rather than needing it. Needing anything at this point, again, like I said, the transurfing modality is taking away,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't mean that I'm a jewelry collector myself. I
Hmm.
love jewelry. It's actually my primary business. I have lots of very fancy, beautiful jewelry, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
You know what? If something happened and I didn't have it anymore, I'd probably think about it a little bit, but I'm not going to be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's not that important for my happiness. It
Yeah.
adds to my
Yeah,
experience. Like
exactly.
I don't,
We're entitled to those things, but it's not a definition of who you are. I've just bought myself a 2011 Nissan Sentra because my daughter's about to have a baby any moment now, and I want to know I can get in the car and go down and help her whenever she needs me. I haven't had a car for 6 years.
oh
Yeah, kind
wow,
of like it's fine. I bust, I this, I that, or somebody gave me a ride, and I thought that's fine, you know. And then
yeah,
now it was time to have the car again. And the moment I got behind that car, reliable little 10-year-old car, that's driving extremely well. Why do I need to go to the expense of a brand new car?
yeah,
Right? For what? Put myself a financial burden and all of that type of thing, right? I knew what I could afford and I spent what I could afford. And then when I got behind that wheel, I thought, oh, this is wonderful. It's freedom. I now can explore even more, right?
yeah.
So
It's
the
so
vehicle, it literally can drive me to more exploration, right? But it
yes,
doesn't have to be this big, huge fancy thing. We love to overburden ourselves with keeping up appearances, and
oh,
then we can't keep up with the visa bill. So it's like, get
eh,
real, live within your means, and I'm not looked upon any less for driving 11 or 10-year-old car as if
yeah.
I was driving a new car, because my energy transcends anything I'm driving.
The end of the day, who cares?
Exactly. And if it does matter to you, and that's important,
Then
then
you're
I'm
not.
sorry,
Then
we're not on the
then
same vibe. Yeah. We're not on the same wavelength or frequency. No.
yes,
And that's
yes,
okay. It's I've always I've said for the last few years, since 2012, the third dimensional is there are things that are just purely live in the earthling body and mind. They've not embraced any form of the spirit, and the fourth dimension was a wake up to, like, wake up, there is more. And they're on that bridge crossing. Fifth dimension are the people that stepped into the service to help the four dimensioners, and then from there, people have ascended into higher dimensions. And I've said is going to be a day where the fourth dimension will break away from the third, and if you haven't got on that bridge, you're going to be left behind. That's happened. This happened this last year. And if you haven't got on that and you're still feeding the anger, I don't know, have you read this book, Who Moved Your Cheese, by
no,
Spencer Johnson, MD? It's a brilliant little book, metaphorical. Two mice, two men living around abundance of cheese. One day the cheese is gone. Sniffy and scary, the mice go sniffing out and scurrying around for more. Hem and ha, well, ha is like, I really don't know what to do. Where do I go from here? And it takes them a moment to kind of realize, well, if I need to eat, I've got to move on. Hem is, give me back my cheese. Who do I kill? Who do I sue? I'm demanding my cheese, because they don't like
yeah,
change. So the third dimensioners
yeah,
are those hems. They are not going to, point the finger, the street pointing back at them, but they're pointing finger at everybody else. It's all your fault. And they never take any accountability, responsibility, or exploration of themselves. We
yeah,
can't do anything for people like that because we all have a choice. But
yeah,
those people that chose to get on that fourth dimensional bridge and walk forward, we're there to nurture them and guide them and show them the way. And that's the beauty of it, all those people that are waking up and becoming, because we're about to turn that volume up on that energy. And it's kind of get with it or get left behind. So
yeah. No,
that's
I
the
hear that.
choice.
That's an awesome way of putting it. Yeah. Well, I'm here to help the people, so
Mm, exactly, exactly. Now, I know that the book here, you didn't write this book, right? This is the Vadman Zealand.
Vadim Zealand, yeah.
Right? The reality transurfing steps.
Mhm.
But that book is here. This is the one that changed your life so much so that you decided most certainly to get in there and be the representative of it. So how do people get hold of you? And do you have any programs, anything else at the present moment that can help other
Oh,
people?
yes, we have all sorts of things for people that are interested, ranging from absolutely free to, the teachable course,
Mhm.
Reality 2.0 on Teachable. There is a fee for that, but it is an extensive dive into the knowledge without having to read the book. We do
Right.
advise reading the book as well, but you could take the course and essentially learn 101 everything you need to know. There's Transurfing TV on YouTube. There's over 650 videos of me talking about the concepts and how to apply them to your specific circumstances in life. We also have free audiobooks of Reality Transurfing steps 1 through 5 on YouTube. We have a very active and thriving Facebook group, the International Transurfing Institute Facebook group. I think there's something like 7,500 members now,
Nice.
all people from all over the world applying this knowledge and seeing amazing results. It's a very supportive community. It's very active, and all levels of understanding, from total newbies just now hearing about it, maybe like you are, to a really serious advanced transurfers. And the cool thing about transurfers is they love to help
Mm-hmm.
developing transurfers into using this knowledge to help them, create new realities. So very, very supportive and nourishing tribe. There's transurfing.us. That's the official website. You could follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing. And yeah, that's about it. A lot of stuff. Dive in. I'm on the Facebook group every day and talking with people and engaging. So if you'd like to meet me there, come and give me a shout out, or you can watch me on YouTube or dive into the course on Teachable. I'll give you all the links and you could share them with your audience.
Yep. As I'm saying, nobody's asking you to take a leap. It might just be a question of putting, one toe in front of the other. But the whole point of, as my word is actionism this year, do something, step forward, go and explore, be wondrous, be exploratory, because there is so much more than what your life is right now. And if you're willing to take the journey and become that divine, beautiful energy, you really do understand what life is all about. Everybody goes, what's life about? This is, this
Yes.
is, right? And you understand it. There aren't really enough words or the right words to explain how divine it is to live in this energy.
Yes.
Right? And it is extraordinary. It is exuberant, illuminating, but you've got to be willing to walk towards it and explore and learn and apply and participate in your own life. This is not somebody fixing you. This is giving you the skills and the tools to mend yourself and connect with yourself and go from the inside out. Life is connecting to your soul, heart, spirit, body, and mind.
Love
Up
it.
and mind down.
Love it. That was such a beautiful, beautiful way to end the conversation, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking a journey, for receiving the cosmic 2x4 and realizing you had another direction to go, to being so inspired by the book to say, this has got to be something more.
Yeah.
and and taking your entrepreneurialism and applying it to that beautiful energy, because yes, folks, you can be an entrepreneur and you can be a beautiful spiritual being. Those things are not separate from each other. When they
Yes.
merge together, the
Stop.
empowerment that they are is extraordinary, right? So you're not giving up, you're merging what works on both sides for the better good.
Yes. Great way of putting it.
Thank you so much for being with us here today. It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
delight.
Yeah, that was very delightful. Thank you very much, and best of luck to you on your journey, and best of luck to you with your new
I
grandchild. That's
know, any day now,
awesome.
any day. A little grandson. Yes, we just can't wait. So on tenterhooks.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Until next time, folks, remember, it's up to you. It's safe. Come on in. The water's wonderful. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.